Arabian Nights, they're like Arabian days. The Arabian Nights, Arabian days, they got lots of gays. Arabian Nights, Arabian days, Arabian Nights, Arabian kites, Arabian days, they're like they're gays. Welcome back. Glad you made it. It's another social production. That's right, we're doing it. It's March the 4th, 2026. Thank you for joining me once again. It's that time of year. It's marching season. That's right. March is upon us. Spring is right around the corner, about to be sprung. Wherever you're tuning in from, whether it's Canada, Mi Familia is further down south, in the United States of America, all the beautiful states, further down south, Mexico, chicas and chicos, right there, over there in South America. Bolivia, over there in Peru, over there in Zimbabwe, and we're jumping over Africa, Antarctica, Papua New Guinea, New Zealand, Australia, Europe, of course, over there in Singapore, over there in friggin' Uzbekistan, all the stands, Pakistan. Why are they always in a pack? How come you can't find any individual stats? Nonetheless, we're right here, we're doing it. It's that time of year. Arabian Nights, Arabian days, Arabian nights, and Arabian gays. It's that time, baby. It's wartime. Congratulations if you made it this far. It's World War Is it World War III? I don't know what it is. I think it's, let's just get right into it. A lot has unfolded over the past weekend, so let's just get right into it. Let us have the funs while we can. Let us enjoy the sip of coffee together. Let us take a sip together. And again, if you like that oral, this is the podcast for you. If you like oral, baby, that's the show for you right here. I'm talking, right there, right there. Arabian nights, Arabian days, they're filled with the gays. Welcome back. Wagwan, over there. Let's just get right into it. Yes, it's friggin', I think it's the end times, but like not really, because like the book continues. What, are we in biblical times? I guess it all, maybe, I don't know. I'm trying to make sense of it like many of you guys and gals. So first and foremost, there's been a tragic death. It's a huge loss. Ali Khamenei, the supreme femur of the Islamic Republic of the Iran, dead. Killed in his bunk bed. In his bunker, I don't know what he was doing, but he's dead, and it's tragic because he was only ripe old age he was 84 or 86 years young. I don't know how old he is or was, but he's dead now, and it's sad because he was so evil, and he had so much more evil left in him, which is the sad part. So like you can't have good without the bad. So in terms of like overall, good, because we killed that motherfucker. In terms of, again, he had so much, because he's like a vampire. He was like a vampire. He'd be sucking on motherfuckers' bloods, and he'd just be taking it. And a lot of people who are not familiar with the area of the world, is like some people compare him to like the Hitler of the Middle East, or the current Hitler. Some people say that. Some people might say that. So in terms of, again, a lot of work he could have still done in terms of evil work, but he's done now. He's dead. Fucking, right there. You mess with the troops, you get the boots. Or I don't know, to be honest. We killed him. We killed him together collectively. I didn't do anything, but together collective, we did that. We fucking, right there. Or I think it was a missile. I'm not quite sure, but I think we bombed him. We bombed him to death. Him and his cronies. So he's dead. I would like to see some images, some pictures, just all over the pavement, just like split. What was left of him? Because I've heard some people may have gotten images. I've not seen any images. You may have not seen any. I would like to see some pictures, just so I could confirm it at least. I'm not even gonna be able to make sure if it's but nonetheless, whether he's dead, he's gone. All right. So now we're at war. I think it's not gonna be a long war. It's not gonna. All right, don't get it all twisted. Like this is gonna be a long war. It's gonna be a short war. It's gonna be a medium length. It's safe to say at this point it's gonna be a medium length war. And it's not the size of the war that matters, it's how you ride the waves. It's not the size, it's the base of wars and cocks. They're the same thing. In terms of size, it's literally just enjoy the show. Enjoy the show. It's gonna be good. We're back at it. This is like the 90s all over again, but with a different, it's a new day. It's a new day, it's a new dawn. It's a unique set of circumstances that are upon us. All right, we're gonna break it down as much as we can and speculate and deduce and have some thoughts about it, and then we'll just have to give it time to see how it all unfold in the coming months, weeks, months, years. So let's get right into it. Where did it all begin? Let me take you back to, some people say 47 years ago. It depends what you're, depends what you're using as a reference. Some people say it's, again, these are biblical times, these are end times, this is written down, it's a prophecy coming true, according to the Bible and stuff, if you use that as a reference. Which, by the way, I had to get myself a new Bible because I had to stop reading the one that I was reading. That one was 6,000 pages. I got to 500 pages and it was just instructions on how to build a tabernacle and build a table, and what kind of clothing are you going to give to Aaron and the boys for the priest. So it was just too much instructions. All right, carry the, make sure you cover the table in gold, and make sure it's 5 widgets long and six digits deep, and it's just too much instruction. So I had to go to the AIs and like, is there a better version of the Bible? I think I was reading the English Standard Version. Again, 6,000 pages, way too much, and again, too many details on the instructions on how to build stuff for God. For God's, gotta build a place of worship. So nonetheless, that's neither here or there. The point is that I'm not even that far, but I had to Google this. I'm like, what does it say about what times are we in? And the AI Google said it's the end times. I'm like, all right, cool. So what happens? And mention the Gog-Magog situation. I think Iran, modern day, I think it's Gog. Russia, maybe Magog. I'm not even sure about these things, but apparently it's the end times. There will be a conflict between, it said so in the Bible. Gog and Magog, and then they attack Israel, and the boys get in, and then it's pew pew. And then after that, but the end times doesn't end. It's like a little bit of end times, but then the good times begin. It's 1,000 years of peace, starting whenever you're ready. Whenever I'm ready right now. I'm ready right now. I've been ready since fucking 5 years ago. Just fucking hashtag peace all around the world. But nonetheless, sometimes you do need to get into it and fucking war it out. I don't think anybody wants war, but sometimes you got to do war in order to get less war. We're a sick species. Collectively, we are a sick species. God. But nonetheless, some good will come out of this. Hopefully, fingers crossed. We bombed him. And I'm glad he's dead. Definitely glad he's dead. This is, again, now it leaves the whole, what are we going to do now? Because I think Iran has been, and I do want to clarify, it's the Islamic Republic, just want to clarify, not to get it mistaken with the vast majority of Iranians or Persians in Iran which want to get along with the rest of the world and want to just fucking, modernize the country and move along. But there's, I don't have the digits or the numbers. I don't know who has the exact digits or numbers. Maybe 15 to 20% of the population is, again, I don't know, is, fucking, and what do you do with them? Because it's a country of like 90 million. We're talking about, again, 15%, 20%, let's just say 100 million, 10 to 20, to 15 million, 20 million of, absolute nut jobs who fucking, just like any sect, any portion of the population and around the world, but it's a different situation. I don't know what we're getting ourselves into. Again, things to be, again, you got to just divide it up, because you can't, you got to divide it up in order, you got to compartmentalize things that we can be happy about collectively. I think we can all, for the most part, say, yes, we're all glad that the Supreme Femur is gone and dead. So that part is good. That's excellent. I'm glad he didn't get to live. But again, some pictures will be nice. Now, what happens afterwards is, because I think Iran's been hitting all these Middle Eastern countries who are, I think Saudi Arabia's been hit. I'm thinking Qatar might be, I'm not quite sure. Qatar might be hit, parts of it. I think I heard an embassy maybe in A consulate in Dubai has been hit. I'm not quite sure, to be honest with you. It's just been a lot of fireworks. Like many of you guys been seeing, lots of fireworks going from different sides to, it's a whole mess. It's a whole mess. The unfortunate part of it is, of course, like innocent people all around the world, which just get up to go about their day, little school children, boys and girls, the men's and women's, elderly who have nothing to do with anything and just walking about, going about the damn, what is that in the sky? Holy shit, it's a fucking missile. And then boom, right there in the nads. Oh, right there, just fucking right there in the crotch. Doesn't happen too often, of course, that's not our intent. We're trying to do this as precise as possible. Which is why he's dead, which is why the Supreme Femur is dead. So, questions? If you like war, then this is the time for you, homie. This is the time for you. I'm not a war guy by any stretch of the imagination, but I have mentioned this in the past. Part of me always wanted to, it wasn't around for World War II. Didn't get to kill any Nazis. Now it's a different war. Nazis are gone, and these are new enemies. The pros and cons of this thing. World War II happened in Europe and the West, and that's a colder climate. So in terms of you don't have to worry about oh, am I gonna get cold going out to you're not gonna get cold going out to if there are gonna be boots on the ground. Not sure if there will be, but if there will be, if there's, at least it's not cold, which sucks because the cold. Oh, who wants to deal with that? No one. Now, what you'd have to prepare for is, of course, empty out your cock and empty out your vag before you take a leak, because it's full of sand. It's just sand. It's just a lot of sand. So before you get up and pee and then go about your day make sure you hit your cock against the toilet seat, just to get the sand out of your cock. Same thing with your anus. If you're gonna go take a shit before you get the day started, squat, hover above the toilet, and just let the sand depart from your rectum, and then get to, because you don't want to shit with sand. That's how you're gonna rip your intestines and start bleeding, and that's not fun, and it's too hot, and it's gonna itch, and you're gonna have to scratch it, but the more you scratch, the more it itches, and it doesn't help with the bleeding. So just get rid of the sand before you get rid of bodily excrements. It's just trying to help out my brethren and sistren. In terms of what I will do, I will do my part. I will entertain the troops. All right, I will do my best to entertain the troops. All right. If you like the smell of burning turbines, now is that time. Which, by the way, apparently once we did kill the Supreme Femur, apparently all the turbines in the area, they just spontaneously combusted. I think he was the head turbine, if I'm not mistaken. So once you kill this, it's kind of like the head vampire. He's the same concept. So once you kill the main one, all the other turbines just spontaneously combust and bust out into flame, and they yell out, "I'm burning, I'm melting," but in the Middle Eastern dialect, which sounds something like "Khamala, la khamla, khala, la khama," something along those lines. And I'm not gonna take the time to translate that. You either, if you know, you know. If you don't, then it's called Duolingo. Khamala, khamala, khama. Roughly translates to I'm melting, but again, not a direct, there's no, you can't, it's extremely hard to, get a direct translation, but we do our best here with the resources that we got. And that's the sound of I'm melting. How did this happen? That's the final words. So again, if you're into, if you're I've been target practicing, I'm part of troops, we've been doing we've done the training. I want to get some targets under my belt and get some this is the time for you. All right, you hit the ground, stay low, stay in the bunker. No, stay in the trenches. We'll be there with backup. And by backup, I mean a lot of AI. This war, we've got AI on our side, all right? World War II, which was the last positive war, or one of the last positive wars, because the legit bad guys. The few wars afterwards, a little bit sus. People are not too happy about the idea of war right now, given the fact that you had Korea, Vietnam, the whole Iraq, Afghanistan situation. Not pleasant. War has gotten a bad rap. So, given the circumstances, this could be the next positive war after World War III, after World War II. I'm not even sure. Do we call it World War III? It kind of feels underwhelming to be called World War III. I know we've all talked about it. We're like, holy shit, what happens if? So it did, and it doesn't. you know, but then again, these are the early stages. Who knows? I would have thought at one point we will see some sort of, if it's gonna like break out. I thought we were gonna see some nukes go off, but and that's not something that anybody wishes for. But it's part of the game. It's part of rhetoric. It's part of, you know, like. But nonetheless, should we have done it? Should we have not done it? You know, we've done it now. We've done it now. You couldn't avoid it because again, this was. We could have avoided a long time ago, but we didn't. We went down a different path. But now we're here, so we're not going to sit down and be like, who did what in the past? And it's today. It's 2026. It's March 4th. Okay, we want to move forward. It's not the time to start pointing blame and start pointing fingers and this, that, and the other. The past is the past. Right now is the right now. So shout out to Trumpeasy for doing what he did. And again, you gotta compartmentalize. Yeah, does it suck for little babies to die? And some will, absolutely. So again, extremely difficult situation, but once again, it's important to stick together. Now's the time to stick together. God. Yeah, it's gonna be, in terms of if you had real estate, if you just invested in real estate, if you've been investing in real estate in the Middle East, you're like, I'm gonna take my money to Dubai. I'm gonna go into the UAE and, you know, buy a bunch of property because it's so great. Now is the time to liquidate that piece of property you meet quickly liquidate and cash, because you don't know you don't know what's gonna happen. None of us really know. We'll see how it goes, but now's the time. At least you'll get your cash. Get the cash back. That's the most important thing. Get the cash back. And again, traveling is probably not a great idea right now. And it's never been, really never been. If you're like, I wonder where I want to travel next, and you're like, oh, Middle East, Europe, Africa, where should I go? Now is not the time. Or it's the best time. If you're like, I'm tired of going to these regular places all around the world and having just like mid experiences. If you're like into danger, now's the fucking time, dude. Now's the time. You know, you put a little bit of war paint on your face, you get your chaps on, you get your vest on, you get your, and that's basically all you need. And then you go out there and you just have a little bit of fun. Ride a camel, shoot a rifle, collect the turbans. The more turbans you collect, the more points you get. Collect them all and then keep them. You redeem them when you're exiting. It adds on to your frequent flyer points. The more turbans you collect, the cheaper your next flights will be, of course. So yeah, it's a whole can of worms. We'll see how it goes. Hopeful at this point for the globe, for the world. How will this all unfold? I think the goal is to eventually get rid of the regime entirely and then replace it with a pro-Western regime. So somehow we're gonna do this. Again, being hopeful, being optimistic. It's gonna take some time. And yeah, just roughly, I'm going to say about 10 to 15 million people that are probably going to be problematic, and that's not fun. I don't know how we're going to do this. I say we fucking just trap them in, try to call them meeting, just call them meeting, collect them all in one place, and then kaplooey. I think there's been some repercussions in terms of people are talking about sleeper cells, and these are cells that are now being activated, apparently, allegedly by the IRGC. I'm not quite sure how that's being done, but apparently I don't even know. There was an event in Austin, Texas. Some dude wearing a t-shirt that says "Property of Allah." I think he went on 6th Street and he tried to, did he kill people? I think he killed maybe 1 or 2, but I'm not quite sure, to be honest with you. A lot has unfolded. He was about to kill, and he did maybe kill a couple of people, but then the police and the law enforcement got in there, and then they killed him. So that's what we do with terrorists. If you want to be doing terrorist activities and shit, but then again, who knows what's going on at this point? Who knows what's going on? It's extremely volatile times, but it's extremely promising times as well. So lessons to be learned. Say no to Islam. I think that's one of the main takeaways. If you could just say no to Islam, learn the lessons. I think the main long-term goal for Iran, again, me speaking, this doesn't impact me whatsoever. I just want to let you, again, neutral guy, just a regular Jamaican, half Japanese, 70, and I've done the math. So I've got no dog in this game, and I've got, and I don't even play with dogs, and like not in a, like I will, like if it's a cute pup, we'll play, but like I don't get dogs and then put them in a game where I'm like, I'm heavily invested in this dog and this guy. I don't care. But it is interesting stuff because now is the time we're living in. What was I even talking about? That's right. So now is the time for you to stand up and say, you know what, I'm gonna do my part, and your part is not gonna be that much. Because again, we got a lot of AI coming in to help. AI helps with more precision killings. All right, autonomous killing. Now we got that. We find their location using all the tech, using AI. All right. Whether it's Sam Altman, whether it's Claude. And I'm not talking about Jean-Claude because he's talking about Claude, the AI, all right, the AI, or whatever else, or ChatGPT or Grok. We could use these to our advantage. We find their exact location, we surveil them, and then we fucking hit them where it hurts. I'm talking right in the nuts. I'm talking right in the nips. And you're like, these guys don't even have nips. They're all turbans. It's all turban city, and I know what you're thinking. And you're right, they do have a lot of turbans. But nonetheless, we still hit them where it hurts using the AI and the autonomous weapons and the surveillance. And once this is all said and done with, in the long term, we will eventually use the mass surveillance with the AI on our own population. And it's going to be, that's once again, that's going to be a bridge we're going to cross. Once we get there, some people say we're already in it. Global mass surveillance, digital IDs. Because you're gonna have more terrorisms. Now you're gonna have more terrorisms. Now you're gonna have to, check. There's gonna be a checkpoint everywhere now. Check yourself. Have your head on a swivel. Carry. Be ready. Start your jiu-jitsu. If you're like, man, when should I start my jiu-jitsu? Today's the day you start your jiu-jitsu because you never know when a dirty terrorist, coming at you, and you're gonna have to fucking get in there and protect the clan, the community, the group. The in-group, the community, the familia. It's gonna be tight. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. There's gonna be some time that's needed to see how all of this unfolds. I heard rumors that the femur has been replaced by his son. One of his sons. I thought they were all dead, but one of his sons. I'm not sure if it's legit or not, but it doesn't matter. That just means he's gonna be dead soon too. So he's gonna be dead. All this to say, do I want any American lives lost? Of course, none of us want this. Do I want any, innocent lives lost? None of us do. Is it gonna happen? Because we've lost a few. I think I heard 6 U.S. servicemen. To rest in peace, my strong brethren and sistren. You fought the good fight, and may your blood not be shed in vain, and other stuff too. So that sucks. That part of it sucks. But again, it's thanks to these brave men and women that all of us get to do what it is that we do. So here's, I would pour some out right now and say, here's one for me. And here's, I pour some out right now, but this is inside the compound. I'd have to clean it up. So I'm just gonna metaphorically pour some out for the ones we lost. Pour some out for the ones that got away, in general speaking. This isn't even about lives lost in war or anything. In general, let's just take a moment here, pour some out metaphorically for the ones that got away. It's doing the pouring, and also pour some out for the ones that didn't get away. And the ones that we're trying to make sure that don't get, why did they even get away? Pour some out for a reminder to next time tie them up properly, so and put them in the back of the trunk and really lock the car doors properly so they can't get away. So pour some out for remembering to do your due diligence so that they can't get away. And again, for the ones that did get away, doesn't mean it's over. Yeah, and it's gonna be it's just gonna be messy. It's gonna be a messy time. And there's gonna be some friendly fires, accidents happen too during all of this. All right, like Kuwait, it's more like couldn't wait. It's more like it because they used friendly fire and shot down 3 of our jets, which cost $31.1 million. More like Kuwait a little bit longer before you shoot. Kuwait ask questions, shoot later is more like it. But that's Kuwait right there. It's just, oh, what is that? Oh no, I've shot down American airplane jet, which cost a lot of. I got excited. I jumped the gun. Say, you've never jumped the gun yourself before. Khamsa lakham khala. All right, my bad. So yeah, that's a little bit of Kuwaiti news for you. But these are all exciting times. These are all exciting times. I hope that it all works out. The long-term, hopes and dreams for the globe is to everybody. Hope to see, again, like, this doesn't impact me whatsoever. It's just a regular Jamaican Japanese person talking to you from Canada. I hope to see Iran potentially get rid of Islam altogether, just kick it all out. We just say and learn from the past, just kick it all out. Convert to Christianity, or just make it a lot easier. If people are like, oh, get rid of religion altogether. You can't. I thought that when I was younger too, but then you see how wokeism comes in, and then people start doing all sorts of crazy shit to fill in that void that we still. That's where we're at. We're in our still infancy to adolescent stage. That's where we're at humanity wise. So we can't. Maybe one day. Maybe aliens don't have religion, but we for some reason still. Some people don't. Some people do. If you do, again, there's a better religion out there. It's tried. It's tested. It's older. It's a better one. The main character was all about peace and love and forgiveness and kindness, and come on your neighbors that you come on to yourself, or great stuff. So have that happen. Again, these are long-term aspirations. In the meantime, it's gonna be a lot of just waiting around and like killing motherfuckers. So let's get out there, let's do the killing. If you need your boy to entertain the troops, I'm there. If you need me to get in there and take some measures into my own hands, you just let me know, because I'm ready there with the war paint, with my fucking with my pants on, with my boots strapped, I don't have weapons, but maybe you can give me some, and I'd be right there alongside my brothers. You go ahead, I'll cover you. I've turned around and accidentally shot our own vehicles by mistake. I caught up late, and I'm there trying to do my best. I got caught in the heat of the moment. Yes, did I just shoot our own vehicle? Now we don't have a getaway car. My bad, dog. My bad. What? You never accidentally shot your own vehicle in warfare? Oh, Mr. Cool, Calm, Collected never shoots at his own car, and fucking I'll not shoot the car next time. My bad. All right, but now go ahead. I'll clear the way. Boom, right there. What is that? 17 turbines collected in one afternoon. If you need me, just letting you know. If you need me, I'm right there. If we're doing a silent mission, you need to lower a guy from the ceiling, hanging by a rope, and just a dagger in his hand, ready to just slice some motherfucker in his throat and collect another turbine. I'm ready. And again, I don't weigh much. Okay, I'm not a heavy guy, which is easier for you to lower me down in the, through ceilings. Great for lowering. Knife, I can bring my own knife. I'll bring the knife that I use to shave my nuts in the river every other Sunday. I'll bring this, a sharp one. It's not the sharpest one, but at the same time, I don't want the knife to be sharp, dude. I want it to suffer a little bit. It's low key. It's a little bit dull. Have I cut my own nuts with it a few times because it was dull? Yes, but that's what a man needs, a dull knife to shave his nuts. And that's the weapon of my choice. Oh, dull knife to the throat. Could you go a little bit faster? This is really hurting my throat. That's exactly the point, because you've been hurting people's throat, or something along those lines. I'm working on it, but I'll prepare. You just let me know if need be. I'm there. So I wear size 12 shoes if I need to be. Do I get standard American soldier boots? Oh God, I want some soldier boots. Can I get some even if I don't go? All right, why don't you just send me the boots? I try them out because I got to do a walk around, see if it's comfortable or not. And I do it like sneakers. I wear size 12, so I'm not sure. Maybe we need to go back and like check the shoe size. I just want to make sure when the time comes, I got the right shoe size, dog. Because you don't want to be in the middle of the war with the wrong shoes. That's fucking War 101. Get the right pair of shoes because you're gonna need them. Shoes, socks, and undies. That's 80% of war. 80 to 80. That's like working out. It's 80 to 85. It's like the same thing. And you want to be fit. 80 to 85% is diet. The rest of it is working out. Same thing with war. Shoes, socks, and undies. That's 95% of it is shoes and socks and underwear. The rest of it is AI and Claude. Fucking, you know. But we're here. It's all good. We'll see how it all unfold. Don't obviously send because there's been talks of, some of you may have heard of a guy that the former Shah of Iran has a son who's he's escaped, he's living in the US, talks of him being the leader. Pace yourself, don't put him in there right now, obviously. I'm sure you guys know better, of course. Don't put him in now, give it some time, because he probably, you know, make sure he's safe before, if that's going to be the replacement lead, make sure he's safe. So take your time. Do the, you know, we got to do a lot of killing. We got to do a lot of killing because now it started. Now we can't just be like, oh, we killed the main guy. Now we got to back out. Now we got to go knee deep in this shit. All right. And again, overall, of course, nobody wanted this. But sometimes you got to have to make hard decisions. So, you know, it's easy to sit on the sidelines and be like, oh, we should have never. And but sometimes you need to make difficult decisions. Those are my thoughts, of course, on the matter, and we'll see how everything will unravel in the next few weeks, days, months, years. In 5 years, dog, in 5 years, it could be fucking great relations, the best of allies, just, you know, fucking selling merchandise to each other, McDonald's opening up in the Middle East, more so than it already has, Walmart's, fucking, you know, maybe a few strip clubs would be nice. Eliminate the mosques. You go in there on another mission as like a peacekeeper. Imagine this: you're a beautiful soldier, beautiful American soldier. All right, you go to the Middle East, and you're like, oh, I want to go. And it's been a few years now. It's like peace times. You go in there on behalf of, I don't know, maybe the UN to do some like peace and like, you know, maintain the peace and like, you know, help with the transition. It's gonna be a transitionary period. You go there, you eat a bunch of kebabs. You fucking sit there in a park. You smoke some hookah. Next thing you know, it's fucking evening time. You're having some tea in the park, and you've now you catch. Oh, what is that? That's a Persian girl right there. Big tits, big ass, big tits. Catches your eye. She's staring at you, and she doesn't have to wear that stupid headscarf. So now you see her beautiful, long, beautiful hair, and her tits are out. Not all the way out, like she was still civil, but like, you know, out, you know, just fucking cleavage city, big ass. And you're like, holy shit. I think I'm in love, and you're stroking your gun. You're just stroking your gun because like you're horny now. You're horny now, and you go out there and you start talking to her for, you know, and you learned a little bit. You took the time to learn the language a little bit, so you want to sweet talk her. And you go to her and you say Khabala Shamla Khama, and she looks you dead in the eye, and there's a breeze coming in, and she says Sham Shamala Khamla Shama Khalalama Takh Takh, and next thing you know, it's fucking. Oh, next thing you know, you're making half American, half Persian babies. And next thing you know, fucking 30, 40 years down the line, it's no different than any other place. And it's fucking great for everybody. Isn't that wonderful? And that's being hopeful and, you know, looking forward to prosperity for everyone. Of course, in the meantime, probably going to be some poor bastard that didn't get a chance to fucking, you know, hook up with a Persian hottie, but there's always time. Fucking, you know, keep your head down, and Khamala Shamshamachal Khamsha. All right, remember that one. It'll save your life. Shamala Khamkhala Shama. If you do have a son, I'm just letting you know, he will probably have a mustache before you grow yours. If you have a son and he's 5 years old, you're like, God, this kid's got a great mustache, and you're still like trying to work on it gets hairy. I'm not gonna lie to you, but it's nice. It's gonna be nice. You're gonna be proud. It's gonna be a mustache you're gonna be proud of. All right, it's gonna be a fucking, you know, it's gonna be like an old school mustache, how like men used to be. But we've been, you know, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good for the gene pool. You're gonna be proud of that. It's gonna be like gangs of New York mustache. I'm talking about like Bill the Butcher mustache. And you haven't seen that in a while. Why? Because you need a little bit of that. You're like, my son, I hope he's getting a good mustache. Well, he will. He'll get that from his mother's side. He'll get it. Trust me, he will. All right. And if it's a baby girl you want, you're gonna get yourself a beautiful half American, half Persian princess to raise, and that's muzzle to you and all of us. So there, I think we figured it out, one step at a time. Next on the old list of things to yap about and discuss with the gang that loves oral. Bolivia. There was a plane crash. It was a military plane, and it was filled with cash. There's images of people trying to, go there, grab the cash. And the cops arrive, and now they're like fist fighting, because the cops are like, leave the cash be. And they said in Bolivian, leave the cash be, and the people are like trying to stuff their pockets with cash. I like to raise the international clause right here and say, I believe, I forget the year, but there is an international law that upholds you grabbing stuff that falls off of planes. But I believe the first instance was off the back of a truck. I think I'm pulling this out, using it to help assist people get a little bit of loot in their pockets. Fell off a truck clause. I believe the year 1913 or 1915, I forget the year, but that's the year it was introduced. Fell off the back of the truck clause. If anything should fall off the back of a truck, you happen to grab it, it's yours to keep. Find also, which by the way, it coincides with the finders, keepers, losers, weepers clause of 1917, 1918. I forget the year, but those two, I'd like to just remember, lest we forget, let us not forget, let's not forget, last thing we forgot, the less you forget, the more you remember. Something about amnesia, being forgetful doesn't often, the less you forget, the more you remember, the less you, something about Alzheimer's. But you know what I'm talking about. I'm just trying to help out the people. The plane crashed, right? If the plane loved the cash, shouldn't have crashed, all right? If you want to, and if you cared about this cash, you wouldn't have just, let it just plummet down to the earth and have the people go there and gobble it up. So let the people grab the cash. And I just want everybody else to remember, should anything fall off the back of a truck, back of a train, back of a helicopter, back of an SUV, back of an ATV, back of a tricycle, back of a bicycle, a unicycle, a tandem bike, a kayak, really any mode of transportation. Should anything fall off a mode of transportation, it is up for grabs. Again, this has been set in stone by the UN. I forget the exact time, but it's finders keepers, and fucks it to you. Why don't you grab some cash and let us just have a little bit of fun? That law also, I forget which one came first. Was it finders keepers, or is it fucks it with you, let us have a little bit of fun? So I forget which came first. It doesn't matter. Everything is written there. Just look it up. So shout out to the Bolivians out there. All right, skirt together, shall we, boys and girls, ladies and gents? A Canadian couple has been, apparently they're gonna have to pay $319,000 because they bought it. Let me just back up for a second. The beautiful Canadian couple, right? I'm talking about wholesome, innocent, fucking, trustworthy, beautiful, innocent, beautiful Canadian couple. This is a Canadian couple that adopts mooses, or plural meeses, and feeds the ducks. They're not supposed to feed the ducks. Never mind. They don't feed the ducks, but they adopt meeses. They watch the birds, geese and ganders. They're good with animals. They probably got a bunch of golden retrievers. I can tell you that. They wear plaid and Roots clothing. They wear Roots clothing. They drink Tim's on most days, but sometimes they treat themselves to Starbucks. Just wholesome. Their kids are off to college, and they're gonna get, college degrees, which don't really have a point at this moment. But nonetheless, they did their part as good parents, and they went at it. They went somewhere and bought some property, and they started to do the renovations to get it ready for their cottage. I don't know what they were gonna make. Maybe they were gonna build a home. Maybe they were gonna just build a giant outdoor pool. I don't know what they were gonna, maybe they were gonna build, I don't know, a gazebo. Maybe they were just gonna, I don't know what they were gonna do with it, but they were gonna do some construction. They started digging up the space, and guess what? Everything halted after they discovered indigenous bones on their property. And then the guy who was doing the excavating and went up to the couple and said, hey, you got some indigenous bones on your property apparently, and they didn't know what to do with it. So they went and had, I guess, and told the authorities, and then the authorities came in to help. And by helping, I mean, they told them that you now owe roughly $319,000, and it could go even higher because there's indigenous bones on your property. That's right. So the moral of this story, ladies and gentlemen, if you're a Canadian, if you're, I don't know, maybe this impacts American families as well. And you're like, what if I find indigenous bones on my property? Before this news article, I thought it was just like, finders keepers, first of all, This didn't fall off the back of a truck, but it fucking probably fell off the back of a buggy at one point. They had buggies back then. We're like, sweet, I found myself some indigenous bones. I get to do a powwow. I get to fucking, put on one of those feather hats and like fucking, to do the whole, dance around the fire and fucking wave an axe and like, throw some daggers at, just typical indigenous Indian activities. Talk to the, talk to the neighboring neighbors using smoke clouds, build, create a little fire, get a little, blanket and like, just make smoke go up in the air and like send smoke clouds, send smoke signals to communicate with the neighbors across the street over there. What's Jim saying? He's saying his wife just left. I'm gonna go over there and just suck Jim off. And that's how Jim communicated to you to let you know that he used the smoke signal. He's like, come over, my wife's gone, come give me head. And that's, I'm not judging. That's what they use the signals for. Come over, give me some head. I'm not in the business of judging, but that's what the smoke signals were for, to communicate with other people. The point is that this indigenous bones that they found apparently is going to cost them $319,000 because now they're going to have to bring in more experts, do more digging to see if there are more indigenous bones. And if there's more indigenous bones, the fucking bill's going to go up even higher. And they're going to have to fucking excavate. And probably not going to be able to build anything for a really long time. So the moral of the story is like, what if I find some indigenous bones? Don't call it in. That's the moral. So if you're a regular person, you're like, what about the indigenous? They're, first of all, they're really old. They're not even new bones. I'll get excited about new bones. Old bones. What are you going to do with old bones? They're like super old. Ugh, you can't even, there's no meat on them. It's gone. Everything's just, it's like, what is it? What is old bones? It's probably hollow by now. Good solid, new bones. You're like, what is this? That could be, made into a necklace or a spoon or a fork or something. But old bones, if you find it, just fucking zip it up. Didn't see nothing. This is where you bring the construction guy over. You just bring the construction. You're like, from your experience, ask them from your experience, what happens if people find indigenous bones on their property, and they'll tell you, well, there's a procedure that needs to be followed. And that's where you reach in your pocket. You've already gone to the bank, right? You take $1,000, all right? You put it in the palm of his hand. And you say, what did you say about the indigenous bones? And he'll say, I said nothing about what indigenous bones. Boys, get the tractor rolling. And that's when the tractor starts rolling once again. You just fucking plow through and do your construction project. Because at the end of the day, $319,000 is no joke for any family. $319,000. That's incredible that they have to pay this out of their pocket. Had it been, had it been taken over by the government, if the bill was taken by the government and they paid for it, maybe then, but even then, you're not going to be able to build for a really long time. So the moral of the story is, as much as you might be like, indigenous bones, you got to fucking live your life, all right? The kids are out of the house. You're thinking to yourself, do we do divorce? Do we go into our swinger stage? Do we experiment with bringing another person into the relationship? What do we do? These are all, and it's limited times. Before you know it, life is over. Okay, what are you going to do? Spend 5 years, figuring out what to do with indigenous bones? It's, they got the casinos. It's fine. That's 2026. You got to build. So next time, again, this goes out to the peeps. This is, again, if you like oral, and you like podcasts, and you like good advice, good solid advice, which most people won't tell you this shit, because they're like, you got to do certain things by the, yeah, but 319,000, that's too much. That's not, you can't justify that. So you keep your mouth shut next time, all right? Moral of the story is keep your mouth shut, and maybe just take the bones yourself and fucking, just put them on you. If you got a neighbor that you got low key a little bit of beef with, just put them on there, put them on the front lawn, be like, yo, fucking this guy, him and this stupid, whatever. Maybe he fucking, does too much yard work. Those guys that just do too much every fucking day. They're in the yard just like trimming something. Stop it. Put a couple of those bones in their yard. Next thing you know, it's their problem. So you're welcome out there. Solid advice. Can't beat it anywhere else. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe, just do a little bit of the old scratch the itch right here. Oh, that's solid. Right there, let's get right into it. Boys and girls. Jim Carrey, all right? Let's just get into this one. Jim Carrey, beloved character and comedian, beloved comedian, Canadian, by the way, Canadian American, Canadian, but then went over to America and did a lot of great stuff. It's just recently he showed up to the Paris Caesar Awards, which I've not heard of them, but apparently there's a Caesar Awards for who makes the best Caesar salad, and he won. He gave a speech in French, which no one could understand because no one speaks French. All right, no one speaks French. Even the French don't even speak French, dude. Everything's done in English. I don't know, but nonetheless, he gave a speech in a language that's of no use to anyone, like literally no use. But he gave it anyway. But everybody was talking. They're like, what happened? Because he gave a little bit of an interview, I don't know, before, during, after, and people were focusing on his face. People were focusing on Jim Carrey's face. They're like, is Jim Carrey, you heard it online. You're like, is Jim Carrey, is that a clone of Jim Carrey? Or more people came and said, oh man, that's a lot of procedures that he's done on his face. So people were talking. Now, let's break it down together. Was that Jim Carrey's clone? I don't know, to be honest with you. I was gonna say no. The only thing that makes it seem like it, his eye color was off, dude. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've seen pictures and I've looked at images of the appearance he had in Paris. His eye color seemed to be a little bit lighter. But that could be lighting. It could be lighting. I've caught myself often. I've got brown eyes. At sometimes when the light hits my eyes, I'll be like, oh, that's a lighter shade of brown. So it could be lighting, but also maybe get him in another room and see if it's lighter. Then we need to start asking questions. What did they do to the real Jim Carrey? All right, or what did Jim Carrey do to the real Jim Carrey? So is he a clone? Was that one a clone? I'm gonna say no. But that does not, ladies and gentlemen, take away from the fact that we can clone people, all right? So it is time for us to get a look. When are we gonna get these fucking clones out, okay? We've already fucking talked about this before, but I wanna see the human clones that we've got. We've probably experimenting with them, bring them up, and if this is a new celebrity handbag or the new celebrity chihuahua, come on the red carpet with your clone to fucking, if you wanna, bring it. We're ready, dude. It's 2020. It's now or never. Or, not to say never, but now it's fucking end times, baby. It's the beginning of the good times. Bring your clone. Introduce it to the public. How much does it cost to get a human clone anyway? We're doing that. Was Jim Carrey a clone? I'm gonna say no. Did Jim Carrey get maybe some work done on his face? The answer, yes, he did. And you shut your dirty hole, all right? Because Jim Carrey has made a lot of great movies that we all grew up on, all right? And from overall, looking at him throughout the years, he looks like a genuinely good guy. He doesn't give me like, but I don't know. I don't know any of these people behind it. Who knows? But on the surface, from what I've seen over the year, he looks like a genuinely nice guy. So what? He went out there and got himself some fucking Botox and fillers and injections. And sure, his face is now different, but it's, you know, what are you gonna do? Just let the man be. If Jim wants to stab his face with injections and fill it up with goop, by all means. Jim, don't listen to the people. Listen to yourself. Low key, as a fan, as somebody who appreciated the movies, the comedy throughout the years, and overall for, you know, if we're looking out for, you know, looking out for somebody else's health, I would say maybe, you know, low key, just maybe this is the time to stop now. This is the time to stop. I get it. You're in Hollywood. A lot of people do this. You get a ton of cash. You got a lot of money. You've done a lot of things. Everything. At the end of the day, you're like, what else is there? You got to start stabbing your face with the needles, because that's what a lot of time and money and resources brings. Stabbing yourself, and then that's like, you get there. You've seen them. You've seen them all. After a certain age, men, women get in there and they stab their faces with needles, and it won't. But this is now let it settle. And if you just let it go now, no more stabbing in the face with the needle. I'm being dead ass right now. You let it go. You just let it settle. It'll actually kind of low key be like somewhat, you know, as normal as a face that's been stabbed with needles will get, but a good one. It'll still look decent. It'll look good. But continue to stab your face with the needles, and you might start to look like other people who've not stopped, which is that. But then again, it's your life. If you think a giant, you know, pumpkin head that's just been stretched out, incapable of showing any emotion, not being able to cry or frown or smile or just really any kind of low-key start looking like a Chinese cat, low-key one of those, like, you know, just one of those, like, doesn't matter, or like, you know, like a sumo. It doesn't. But if that's what makes you happy, who are the people to say otherwise? If that makes you happy, like, you know what, I'm 50, 60, 70. I don't know how old he is, but like, you know, I'm in my later years. I've done everything. I want to stab myself in the face with more needles and fill it up with more goo, and sometimes play with the goo and like move it around and like put it down on my, like, you know, just get like just traps, just giant traps. That's what they should do, because a lot of times they say the goop doesn't move around, but I want goop, like, they should make goop that does move around. Because like, what if it's dark and you're trying to impress a lady and they can't see your face, but like, let's say you're in a movie theater, right? And then you're sitting there, behind you is a hot chick, and you're like, man, I wish you could see my face that I got a lot of procedures on. She can't. What if you could move the goop to your traps, and all of a sudden, like, you know, halfway through the movie, now you got giant traps, fucking giant traps. And then once the movie's done and over, like 5 minutes when the movie's about to finish, it's fucking, she's already seen the traps, and she's already thought to herself, she's watching the movie, but nonetheless, in her periphery, she's caught the traps. She's like, God, wonder who's behind the traps. This looks really fucking great. I love traps. So you already got her hooked on the traps, right? 5 minutes before the movie's over, you start like fucking pushing the traps back into your face. Lights turn on, movie's fucking done. She looks at your face and she's like, oh my God, I love that. I love your face and your traps. And maybe leave, you know, just, you know, look at her from the side, push one of the traps up to the side of the face, so you get the work done on the face, and you got the, point is, I want it to be movable. I don't want it to be just like, you know, stationary. That's the next phase. The point of this is leave Jim be. Also, if Jim wants to do more of these stabbings and needles to his face, or anybody else for that matter, I myself, when I get a little bit of cash later in my later year, I will definitely 100% get on juice. I for 100% for sure will start doing testosterone and just fucking get jacked. Will I stab my face with anything? I don't think so. But yeah, am I gonna grab a needle or two and just fucking start gaining like 20, 30, 40 pounds of muscle in a matter of weeks? You fucking bet your ass I will. Bet your ass I will. So moral of that story is that we're here, and the point of this is to live your life. And also, I do want to see the clones. This is what they do. This is what they do, is send somebody out with plastic surgery. So everybody's like, oh, is it a clone? And then all of a sudden start making fun of the idea of cloning, and we're like, no, of course not. We don't have clones. Show us the fucking clones. Not saying this one was a clone, but also Loki, how do I know? It might Loki be a clone. It might. I don't know. You've also heard the rumors about Eminem, about Jamie Foxx. Who fucking knows? Who fucking knows? I mean, Hollywood shit. Now I'll give you a nice little remedy for summertime, because it's fucking summertime, and you're like, oh, how do I get guns? How do I get my summer guns ready for summer? How do I get fucking guns? You know how you get summer guns? Super easy. Fingering. Forget the weights. Forget the exercises for your guns, for the biceps and the triceps. Fingering. I'm talking finger fucking will actually build much bigger biceps and triceps in a shorter amount of time than you could imagine. It just takes a little bit of dedication. It just takes a little bit of, you gotta just put your mind to it, get out there and start fucking fingering. Find a partner, find a lover, a male, and this doesn't even have to be sexual. You don't even need to be like, you low-key, you could just find somebody, anybody. And fingering, just put the fingers up the vag and or the anus and wiggle it around for about 5 to 10 minutes this way, 5 to 10 minutes that way, and that will just build the muscles in your biceps and your triceps. You're like, can I do it with strangers? Of course. And that's the beauty of this thing. A lot of people are like, I don't want to buy equipment. I don't want to buy a membership. Find a fellow or a lady. Put your fingers up there. And again, it's the motion of come hither, come hither, come hither to me, come hither. You keep doing this for 5-10 minutes and then do it reverse. Go over there. Go over there. That's for the tricep. Go over there. And that's how you get the big guns. Zero money spent. You've actually probably earned some money, because money that's not spent is money that's earned. And there you go. Forget, you're like, oh, what do I do with how do I keep up with the Hollywood elite and overall just, upper echelons of society who've got access to all sorts of TRTs and red light screen, looking at a red light, just go up to a traffic light, look at a red light at a traffic light, great for reversing your age, take a dip in really, cold, if you don't have a cold water, fucking, if you don't have one of those cold plunges, fucking, just move to somewhere that's colder. Move to somewhere that's, I don't do cold plunges because we live in Canada and it's fucking cold, like half the year. It's starting to warm up now, thank God. Finally, it's starting to warm up. I hope we get an early spring, fingers crossed. But nonetheless, the point is, if you're like, I don't have the means, fucking fingering, to build finger, all right? And backwards to remember that you don't want to just be the guy that just works the fucking biceps, come hither motion, and then you forget to work the triceps. You're gonna look like an idiot. So grab a partner, finger, and you'll be good, all right? Now, a 27-year-old ambulance driver in Italy was recently investigated over the alleged murder and death of potentially 5 people that died in his care. They're investigating him. He's not arrested. They're investigating him. He's not arrested. I've heard that some of them died in the ambulance with him. Some of the people that died in his care died after, like maybe a few days after. One of them, I think, died like 13 days after he'd given them a ride. He's being questioned right now at this point. Before we jump to the conclusions, let's just say, I just want to say this. If it turns out that he did murder them using whatever, whether it was poison or injections or the pills that he crushed in their retina, whatever he did, if it turns out that he did the murder, then obviously do the time. If you do the murder, do the time. But if it turns out he didn't do the murder, if it turns out that it's just like Loki's just a great guy, just, ambulance driver, emergency service worker, I do want to say maybe now is the time to bring in and start a new, I don't know what, maybe a new law to give emergency service workers like 1 murder per year. If you're an EMS, if cops, firefighters, ambulance drivers, doctors and nurses, anybody in in the health and safety industry, because they do save a lot of lives. They do. I'm just saying, they save a ton of lives. I say you got I think it's just fair to give them 1 murder, 1 little tiny murder every year. Just one. And this is not to say that they're gonna go crazy and murder all the time. 1 murder for all the lives they've saved. Think about your ambulance driver, how many times he or she has saved countless lives, probably hundreds, maybe thousands, depending on how long they've been working. You're telling me we as a society don't have the decency to award them 1 tiny little murder per year? And they'll know if you got like a reoccurring person that's coming into your ambulance or your doctor's office, if they just keep coming back, maybe one per year, they get to take them out using whatever method they like. And I think it's earned at this point. I don't think anybody else in society should get it, but at least, again, a guy, if he keeps setting his beard on fire and you got to put him in the back of the ambulance, you're like, you got to quit doing this, man. You got to keep doing it. And I keep giving you ointments and antibiotics. You keep getting better. You come back a few weeks later, you set yourself on fire once again. I'm sick and tired of this shit. Take him out. Just one murder, and that'll because it's a stressful job. It is a stressful job. All right. And the same goes for cops and firefighters. You keep going to, an abandoned building. There's a fucking homeless little, fellow just fucking keeps lighting the place on fire. You go, there's a guy that fucking takes dumps in the middle of the supermarket just over and over again. You've had multiple talks. There's nothing you can do. There's no home you can put him in. There's no jail you can put him in. He keeps coming up to the supermarket, takes a dump between the cabbage and the apples. And it's like, one guy, you got one shot every year. Just putting it out there. Food for thought. Support the emergency service workers and ambulance. Again, I don't know. He might be a full-fledged, he might have killed all 5. In which case, lock him up. Because he should get 1, in my opinion. If you, again, leave a comment if you think they should get more or less or none. If you want to be fucking stingy, you're like, no. If we don't get 1, they shouldn't get 1 either. Whatever, dog. Because we're focusing on health and exercise, I've asked myself, what is the most important part of the body that we should exercise? It's the core. The core is the most important part of the body that you should exercise, above anything else. And again, this is an easy one for anybody to get access to. I've basically created this as an idea, but it's something that you could probably make at your own home or in your own garage. You don't need much. You just grab 2 butt plugs, all right? Grab a rope or a chain, attach the 2 butt plugs to the said chain or rope, roughly a foot or 2 long. Grab yourself and a partner, insert the butt plugs, and one of the butt plugs should go up your butt, the other butt plug should go up your, friend's butt. And to work the core, you clench your butt and you start, it's tug of war, but like butt plug wars is what it is. So you lay on your back and you try to pull the butt plug out of your, partner's asshole, and whoever pulls it out wins. But there's really, at the end of the day, you're both winning because you're both exercising your rectum. And then insert it again, and then try to pull it out again and see if you can do it, or maybe he or she will pull it out of your butt. And again, it doesn't matter. They're not going to keep score of who's winning. The whole point is to do this maybe 10, 15 minutes and work on your lower abdomens, your pelvic floor, and don't forget the pelvic ceiling. A lot of people like to focus on the pelvic floor, but if the ceiling is leaking, then it's no fucking bueno either. So fucking and the side, the pelvic floor is important, but if there's no sides or roof to this floor, then it's not much of a space where you can feel proud of and invite people over. Be like, come check out this pelvic floor of mine. No fucking walls, no windows, no ceiling, no door. Just what am I gonna do with the pelvic floor? Just stand on this pelvic floor? And we've all been there. How many times? People will say, you gotta check out this pelvic floor. You get in, it's just like, fucking nothing in there. It's just empty space. Just one. So you might as well just, invite people outside and be like, let's hang out here. That's how I feel about it every time. Whenever people are like, come stay in my pelvic floor. Decorate it. Get a couple. It doesn't take much. Put a couple of walls up. Drywall. Put a ceiling on that bitch. Put some lighting in there. I can't see any. It's so dark in there. You just get in there. It's just an empty floor, and it's hard. It's hard to no mats, no carpets. No, it's empty. It's hollow. It doesn't mean anything. So there you have it, ladies and gents. Speaking of feces, I believe it's Kent Police Department, which I didn't bother to look to see where Kent is. It's somewhere in the US, I don't know where, but the Kent Police Department arrested a couple who assaulted a maintenance worker because the maintenance worker had seen the couple take their dog out, and the dog took a shit outside, and then they didn't pick up their dog shit, which is bringing me to this point, shit problems. If you've got shit problems, then if you like oral and shit problems, then this is the podcast for you. How to deal with a neighbor who won't pick up their dog shit. That's, ugh. One, you could go and talk to them, in which case this poor maintenance worker in Kent went out there to do so. He asked the couple to pick up the dog shit. Apparently, again, they assaulted him. They dragged him back to, I think it was their residence. I don't know, but two of them, nonetheless. They beat him up. I think the lady poured water on him and like kicked him in something. Nonetheless, he got assaulted, so that's why they were arrested. But most often, this could be resolved by a little chit. You just talk to your neighbor, or like neighbor keeps walking their dog and not picking up their shit. Ask if they're, maybe, again, this is one, if it was France, then you'd be like typical French behavior, whatever. This isn't France, and we speak English. All right, so talk to them, tell them to pick up the dog poo. If they don't pick up the dog poo, then this is where you got to start using a little bit of, got to come in a little bit, grab your dog and take them over to their lawn and have your dog take a dump on their lawn, and don't pick it up and then watch them from afar. Go sit on a bench maybe like 200 feet away and just pretend you're reading a newspaper, which nobody does, but nonetheless, it could be a Chinese newspaper. Nobody will even bother to look because it doesn't even matter at this point. Just have like a newspaper. Have a newspaper in your hand, lower it slightly below your face, and then just have it, and then be like, and then look at them. But they probably won't even get bothered by that because they're used to dog shit all around them. So and that's fine. You gotta just like take it up another notch. Take your dog, have your dog take a dump in front of their door, right outside their door, and maybe the evening time, and then dip. But again, with Ring cameras these days, maybe that's not something. Or if you don't, you're like, what if I don't have a dog? Then I take it upon yourself. Because not everybody has a dog. I get that it's a whole lot of responsibility. It does cost a lot of money. Maybe you're single, you don't have time for a dog right now. Take some of your own fecal matter. If you can do it, the best thing you could do is go on their lawn in the evening when it's dark, like maybe like 3 a.m, take a dump on and then just leave it there. And then again, go back to the bench the next day, just watch them, see if they react. If they don't, move to the front of the door. But again, watch out for Ring cameras. Cover yourself in feces, cover yourself in dog feces, and then just like bump into them and maybe just brush up against them and be like, how does it feel? Maybe don't even ask them, just look at their eye just to see if they get disgusted, or maybe they're into, I don't know, but it is a problem if you don't pick up after your dog. So please pick up after your dog. If they don't, I would suggest like break into their home, take shits in their home. While again, I would be careful of cameras because everybody's got a lot of cameras these days. But once you find out if they've got cameras, disable them. If they don't got cameras, that's perfect. Break into their home, take a dump in their kitchen, in their cabinets, in their bathtub, and just disappear. But you can't see their faces. You can still sit on the bench and wait for them to come outside the next day, but you won't get to see their initial reaction. You'll get like the aftermath, but it won't be the same. But at least you did something, right? So if you're dealing with that's a little bit of shit problems. If you're dealing with it, these are some methods that you could use. Toss it out your window, do a drive-by, you get in a friend's car, do a drive-by. If they're walking down the street in another neighborhood, track them down, throw the feces at them, and just fucking move along. And maybe that'll wake up their senses, and maybe they'll be like, I don't want to live in a world filled with feces. How do we change this? And then they'll just fucking need a light bulb that changes with me, and then they'll start picking up after their dog shit. Who knows? But I hope this helps. If you've got any, ideas of how to help these types of people who are dealing with, potential dog shit in their neighborhood, leave a comment. A mother got swept away by a strong current in SoCal, that's Southern California, in the San Gabriel River. In a hiking path. That's right, a mother got swept away, but because of the rainfall, it's rain season. The rain has come in and it's strong currents, and it just swept her away, and I think she died. And that's horrible, that sucks. But I want to take this time to say that women and rivers have never gotten along historically. Women and rivers have always, not all women, most women do fine with rivers, some women. It's because of the way you're designed. It's because Because you got a vagina, you got a puss, and the puss is basically an open. It's open. It's just why it's an open wound. It's an open gash. So that's not to say it's the river's fault or it's the woman's fault. We're not here to like fucking point fingers and be like who's at fault here. It's just the way biology works. It's just you got a vagina. It's basically you're prone to getting filled up with water and then just being, because you've never heard of a man getting swept away in a river. Never have you ever heard a man getting swept away in a river or any body of water, really, because men have cocks, as the movie. You remember the movie? Boys have penises. Girls have vajayjays. Remember that one with Arnie? Remember that one? So the point is that put duct tape if you're going to go in a body of water, because again, how many times must we see women get swept away? Because again, water goes inside the vagina and just takes over, not just over you, but goes inside you and pushes you to a different direction. You're filled up with water. Close it up. Put some duct tape over it before you go into the river. If it's rain season like right now, maybe avoid the rivers. But of course, babies do great in water. Babies know how to swim, so this is never happened again. I think this is a female problem, because we've seen babies, they live in water. You give birth to them sometimes in water, and they thrive. They're fucking eating, they're eating in the water. They're doing their paperwork. They're filing their taxes in the water. Babies, play with their toys, and they're fine. They're basically fish. Babies are fish. Babies are basically fish. If you're like, I'm dried up, I don't have no more eggs in me, I'm all dried up, how do I get a baby? Put a fish in your puss and then just have it slide out of your puss, and you and your husband can look at each other and be like, man, what a beautiful baby, because that's basically what babies are, just fish with limbs. So there you go. That's one, solving the problem of couples who can't have babies. Two, saying that this is probably mostly a female problem, but nonetheless, because they're part of society and we love them, we will do everything in our power to assist them. Avoid, if it's rain season, don't go out in a body of water where it's like the tides are crazy or the current is too strong. And there's Moses too, baby fucking Moses. We left him. Somebody left him in a little basket, went down a river, and that wasn't, you're like, oh, what's going to happen to this baby? Survived. Oh, no big deal. Went over to, become a leader, just a great fucking leader, and what was that? That was a baby in water. Historically, women do, there was Titanic. That bitch did really well in water, actually, but it wasn't a river. It was not a river, and she did have a little piece of wood. Go in with wood. Never go in empty-handed, and you gotta bring a peace offering to the water gods. I'm offering you something. Say that as you go into the water. But again, I've never seen men get swept away. This is purely, I'm not quite sure if this is big women trying to go after rivers and give rivers a bad rap. Stay away from rivers. Rivers take life. And next thing you know, everybody's ignoring the river. The river's getting sad, starts drinking, starts gambling, spirals down a dark path. How did the river get, to this point in his or her life? And we could trace it all back to one female that wasn't cautious. So yeah, animals do really well in rivers. Women, not so much. At least not this woman. The point that I'm trying to make, ladies and gentlemen, in closing, is that it's high time we go around the world and change what needs to be changed. And it starts with us. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to be an easy, snap of a finger sitch. But if we're going to see anything, we're going to have to start doing it ourselves. And by that, I mean, it's high time that we replace all the seats in the world. It's 2026. Okay, it's 2026. We replace all the seats with toilets. As you've noticed, every time you are sitting somewhere at one point or another, you're gonna have to excuse yourself and go off to the bathroom. I say it's not a bowel movement issue or problem. It's not a room problem where you need to excuse yourself and go off to another. It's a matter of practicality, and we've not been practical. We've created different types of seats for the sake of comfort. And what is comfort, if not root word in comfort, come, fort, a fort made of cum, is that a fort made of, a fort made of cum. I couldn't ask for something worse. But here we go. We've done it to ourselves. We said, you know what, I'd rather have a soft cushion under my ass and I'll get up and excuse myself if I need to go to the bathroom. Imagine you didn't. Imagine you're in the middle of a meeting in your penthouse office, penthouse, upper, high, penthouse, but it's been renovated, it's been turned into an office. And you're in a boardroom meeting and it's, seats, everybody's seating around the table, giving a speech. We're going to do a merger. You're going to, sell off some of the stock next year. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have to excuse myself from this. You get up to go what? Take a dump, and you miss out on the good part where the merger happens and when one of the firm members decides to fucking flash everybody with her tits, and you missed out on all of that. And they were gonna just, and everybody takes pictures and everybody's showing the pictures and everybody's like, remember when Jill showed her tits before the merger? They're fucking high-fiving tits. For Jill's tits are awesome. Hell yeah. Remember that day Jill showed us her tits and we did the merger? And guess what? You're an idiot. You missed out on all of that. So you have to go excuse yourself, take a shit in the bathroom all the way down the hall. Ugh, like some hermit. So remove all the seats. If you need to go, simply lower your pants in the meeting room and take a shit and just go on with the rest of your business as you're sitting at a dinner table with your family and friends. Your little girl has just come back from college, she's in a great mood. She's about to tell you that she's engaged to her boyfriend, and they're gonna get mad, and you're super excited, but guess what? You're gonna miss out on that entire story if you have to excuse yourself and go to the bathroom. All right, John? So remove all the seats around the dinner table, replace them with toilets, and sit through that and look at your daughter in the eye, look at your future son-in-law, and drop a huge log, and feel free to share this experience with the rest of the crew as well. Ever sit down and get the sensation of like, oh man, diarrhea is gonna hit, and you're sitting on the couch with your sweetheart and you're like, oh, I've got my hands around her neck, we're watching Netflix and we're about to engage in the chillin', but I'm gonna have to get up and excuse myself and put space between us and go to the bathroom to get rid of this diarrhea in my tum-tum. By the time you come back, the fucking mood has changed, the movie's almost done, and she's probably got to go home early and get some rest because tomorrow's a work day, because you guys haven't moved in together yet. Whereas if you had a toilet where you were sitting, you just fucking pull down your pants and diarrhea right next to her. Maybe she's got to go. Maybe she's a few days before her period, which means what? She's horny, but also loose stool. Maybe she also needs to diarrhea. All right. So forget forts of cum. Forget all this comfort shit and go for something that's practical. Something that makes sense. But sometimes you have things that don't make sense. You thought that was it. No, we're still here. Sometimes things don't make sense. Like people freak out. People freak out over rain. You've seen this. When it rains, people freak out. And they're like, oh, when it rains, it pours. When it rains, it pours. People start losing their mind. And basically, when you say when it rains, it pours, it just, because when it rains, you're wet, you're getting wet. Yeah, the clouds are pouring down on top of you. And then somebody says, when it rains, it pours. Well, thank God it's just rain, and then pouring is just more rain. So thank God it's only, but people lose their mind over that. Imagine it pooped if it rained, because people will react terribly. They're like, when it rains, it pours. God, I can't stop. I can't stop getting wet. When it rains, it pours. It's so much, we're so wet. But it's just more rain, and people lose their mind over that. But again, imagine it pooped every time it rained. And that would be something worth saying and declaring to other people. When it rains, it poops. You know how it goes, folks. When it rains, by now you're just getting bombarded by a shit ton of poop from the clouds, from the sky. But so the moral of this story is that thank God when it rains, it pours. Because it could have been a lot. When it rained, it could have pooped. It could have pooped in the multiverse of multiverses. Somewhere out there in another universe, another version of you is right outside with an umbrella, and guess what? It starts to rain, but you know what? It also starts to poop instead of it just pouring. So before you go out there and complain about it pouring when it rains, remember that it could poop. Remember that it could have also been semen. It could have been jizz. Could you imagine having to say that phrase? When it rains, it jizz. When it rains, it jizzes as well. When it rains, we get covered in jizz. Remember that. Always remember that. Don't complain about the fact that it's raining. It's just more water. When it rains, it pours. It's like saying when it's wet, it's wet. When it's wet, it is wet. Yeah, when it's wet, it's wet. And I'm glad it's just wet because it could have pooped as well. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, peace out. Get out of here.